everyone. So today we got to play Legacy. So this game...
Legacy, the Testament de Duke de Crecy.
Okay.
What he said.
So essentially this game is about establishing your family and getting the most prestige.
In France.
In France. And so basically you have the first member of your family and you're trying to get married, have children, get them married, have more children.
Not while they're children.
Not while they're children.
They grow up and there's a new
that would
generation.
just be wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although you can arrange their marriage while they're children.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's. I mean, what else are you supposed to do?
Right.
I mean, a 3-year-old totally should have a husband.
Absolutely.
So, and there's also things that you can do for your family. You can go on adventures. You can.
Ventures. Oh, you're talking about ventures.
Ventures.
Like, what adventures? You're sending your children off to like explore the jungles?
And it's not dentures. It's with a V.
No.
The red cards.
Complete tasks.
That's
okay.
it.
You can also buy mansions, and then get married, have children, socialize, ask, beg for money. So there's a couple of things that you can do in that process. That's the overall gameplay.
And you play it over 4 generations, and you're trying to expand your family tree as broadly as possible to earn victory points for each child you have, each generation.
I'm pretty sure I said that.
Okay, I just want to make it clear it was over 4 generations.
Not 3.
Not 3.
5.
Not 2. Not 1.
Well, I mean, it was more. Okay.
There you go.
All right.
So you're running. Are you running the show now? You know what? He's got this. Continue.
No, just because we did one review together in between our others.
So the quality of pieces are pretty good. These cards are actually pretty good stock. I haven't even had to sleeve them, and we've played this several times, so they've held up really well. And it's mostly cards. I mean, player boards are actually pretty good quality as well, and then you have some wooden bits as far as the action tokens. But for the most part, everything is really well made. I mean, I can't really give a fault to any of it. The main board has slots for all the cards. The money, yeah. The money we don't use because it's cards, and I don't know. It doesn't feel like money, so we actually use my victory point money chips. So we replace that. But apart from that, I mean, everything's really well made, I think.
To be honest, I didn't even know the money was cards.
Well, I do normally, I laugh at Anal Randy doing that kind of stuff because he has to have his chips versus the cardboard money or whatever. But in this, I kind of agree because it's the same size as the other cards.
Yeah.
So it would be difficult to handle the money with the same size as your family cards and the children cards and all that.
Hey,
they should have differentiated the money somehow.
Yeah, well, whatever makes Randy happy.
Well, that is the meaning of our lives.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
I'm glad you finally realized that.
He's our Sheldon. And
just thinking more Urkel.
Again, we're reviewing the game. Not me. How many times? It's like every video now. I have to point that out. Let's pay attention to the game.
All right, so I agree with that. Quality pieces seem to be fine with this game. But I don't think there's anything extraordinary about this.
There's nothing fabulous about the pieces either.
It's all okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give it a score. Let's give it a number.
I think it's a 7. I mean, that's generally a good quality game, and it's not exceptional, and it doesn't have anything that stands out.
But better than Catan? I mean,
absolutely, it's better than Catan.
How is the quality of pieces better than Catan?
These cards are way better than the cards you get in Catan.
Okay. How?
That's why I was going to give it a 6, because the cards are better than Catan, but all the wooden bits and the cardboard bits are almost exactly the same. So, as far as quality, I'd give it a 6.
I'll go with what you said. 6 is fine. I don't think the cards justify 2 points. 1 point, sure, but not 2 points.
Yeah.
Because everything else I think is pretty standard, what you would see in, a Catan board. So theme. So the theme is...
You are in pre-revolution France, 1729 for your first generation. So it's all about the French aristocracy and growing and marrying off your children into royalty from other nations.
Mm-hmm.
And every card is a unique member of each family.
Are these based off of real people? I wonder.
There's a few. I married George, who had a white wig and was wearing a blue coat and was the American. So clearly, it was supposed to be George Washington. So yes, and I think patrons. I think there's a Ben Franklin, and there's several patrons that are actual names.
Okay, so the theme, though, I think is the game. Like the whole point is to get married and have children. You can't get around that. So the theme, I definitely think, is very entrenched in the game.
It's entrenched in the game, and it's well done. I mean, every card is custom. Like I was saying before this video started, they have a parchment that's the history or a letter to the Duke de Crecy in the box. There's no reason for it, but it adds flavor. Cool. Yeah. And I mean, everything about this just exudes theme.
So the only problem I have is the children are all the same. Like, even the ones that have the special abilities look the exact same. And I wish they would have added a little bit of variety to the children cards.
I agree, because they went all out with all the variety for the different single people in the game. Why didn't they go that same thing with all the kids?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like, so, and even if they just did the ones that were special.
Yeah.
Like this one, I had a special
girl.
child, and she was a true beauty. Marrying her cost 2 less. Okay, but why didn't they have like a prettier picture on this one?
To be fair, to play devil's advocate here, I mean, there was questions about some of them before we started about what gender they were. When you looked at them, if you can clearly differentiate the genders and you don't have to change the art for each card. I mean, as far as this gameplay, the way it's designed, you need to distinguish the male characters from the female characters.
But you have a blue background, do a pink background.
Yeah, I mean, but then colorblindness is an issue.
Okay,
so,
well, then,
I mean, I don't have a problem with them having the same art on every card.
I do. I mean, again, if you're looking for improvement, right? It's functional, okay? Yeah. But I'm just saying, as far as theme goes, that would have been super cool. I think that would have added a lot.
I don't know about a lot, but it would have been nice if they. I mean, I think they did so well on the individual adult characters. Mm-hmm. It would have been cool if they would have customized the children as well.
Yeah.
But it's not. That's a very minor nitpick to me.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a big deal.
And this has to do with table presence, maybe more of like. So you get these beautiful table with all these different interesting people, but then you've got the same card next to every single one.
Well, maybe the French children back then did all look the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, did you live back then? No. So
I
don't know.
You're right. I don't. I mean, it is a small nitpick.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if they ever make a remake of this or whatever the case may be,
maybe that's something they could think about.
Then they should think about that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So what would you rank me?
Well, things definitely integrated into it. You can't get out of it. I think I like the theme. I'm going to give it a 9. I think they did really well about integrating it. I mean, like I said, I only had a small nitpick to really. If they had fixed the children, I definitely would have given it a 10 as far as theme's concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I think 9's about what I was thinking of giving it as well. The only grievance I have really was actually, I probably should have done a quality, but it's actually not even associated directly with the game. It's the promo cards that we got for the mansions.
Yeah, it's a different size.
They size and they didn't cut them, so it's a different texture. It's a totally different kind of card, but these are promos. They have not rounded edges. They're just really chintzy as far as these go. It's the only, but it's not part of the standard game. This is something that was a promo that came extra. So it's a replacement for cards that are rounded and smooth and the same size as the rest of them. So it's really a nitpicky on that side. It's not part of the standard game, but it does add a lot to the game. So I think 9 is a really fair score for theme on this.
I agree. I was going to give it a 9.
Okay. All right. So moving on to rules. I didn't read it.
The rules are actually pretty well done. Yeah, that's a shocker.
Wow.
The rules are
Really?
They walk you through. I guess the only grievance I had up in the front was that they have these big numbers on there as far as telling you what things are, but then the actual reference points are tiny font. Telling you, it's like, so they got these big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you have to find. It's like normally that would point to a section to say, put this here, put that there, but instead it's just telling you what it is in tiny font below. So it threw me and it's that way for every one of them. It does it here. I mean, it's consistently big numbers, tiny font for what the description.
Or at least they are
is.
Consistent about it.
Yeah, they are consistently causing my eyes to bug out. And so that's the way it is for the components section. And then once you get into the actual setup, that's where it actually does what you would expect, where it kind of references, although it's still not pointed out real big. But apart from that, I mean, all the pictures are really helpful. It's laid out really nicely. Chapters are real clear. I mean, it's easy to find what you're looking for.
I mean, I haven't read the rules, but looking at it, I would say that my only critique is the font looks tiny throughout the book.
Yeah,
which would be hard for me to read.
It's not horrible, except for
it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
but I mean,
this isn't
I do
bad
like
compared to some of them.
I like the illustrations, though. Clearly, the illustrations are really well done.
Yeah, it looks like the illustrations.
Yeah.
Are good.
Yeah, and it's laid out in a very logical sense, and then it has a description of that. Here they actually did what I asked for many times. Put the picture of the card when you put the reference to it. So it has that. I mean, everything about this is well made. I'm going to give this one an 8. I think it's a really well made manual. Big advertisement for Imperial Settlers on the back.
Hey.
So yeah, I think it's an 8.
Okay.
Okay.
I know you
Trust
guys
your
are going to
judgment.
defer. I could have given it a 3,612 if I wanted.
No, I would
I
say
would
that
maybe 11. 3,611. Not 12, no way.
Okay. All right. So moving on to gameplay.
All right. So I think we already gave a general overview of the game with your very detailed 4 rounds.
Yes. Very important to know that. Thank you. So yes.
Well, there's a lot more to it
Yeah.
than that, because what's really interesting is that you got action rounds, but you also got rounds that give you different kinds of income. So how you balance when you get your money and where you go on the board is really important, because you may not have the money to do the actions that you want to get as far as cards, but you may be able to get additional actions with the colored tokens. And it's a lot of balancing and evaluating when I can do certain actions and be the most efficient at getting what I need to get.
Right, and you get 2 actions by default with your color character, and then you can get additional actions from these different various tokens that are the colors of the shared action board that are specific. You can only use them for the given action that matches the color. So again, color blindness could be an issue with this game because all of them
because there's
are color
nothing
coded.
that denotes.
No, you would
the
have to read the
actions,
text,
just
but the
color.
chips don't have those.
Right.
But your colors, if someone takes an action that covers that action, you can't use that action. Mm-hmm. So you have to save it for a later action.
And trust me, that came up more than once.
It's a very, very tight worker placement, because you're going to run into the shared actions. There's only 6 of them.
Right.
So
and then not only that does it lock it up, but the early rounds is even harder, because you don't have as many actions to do. So if you block that and someone else has that color, they could very well lose out on doing that action.
You lose the token after each generation.
Right.
So yeah, you want to get them in before that generation ends. And you start with 2 rounds, then 3, then 4 for the first 3 generations, and the 4th is just a final final scoring.
And that didn't affect me, but it did affect you guys, didn't it?
I never lost.
I thought you guys lost out on the yellow ones because I did both of those.
No, that was a round, but not the privilege.
Okay. You also get 4 actions that are on your private board, and those you can use multiple times as long as you have the actions to do it. And those are where you can marry your people off or have children, but that's only 1 child. You can beg for money with your friends and alienate your friends as a process.
Or get more friends.
Or socialize to gain friends.
I will say I never socialized or begged for money.
I did. I did once for each one.
Yeah.
And
I got to say, I socialized more in this game than I do in real life. So, there's that.
I don't believe that. He
But
pretends to be an
it was
introvert.
it was a really tight game. I like it for that.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons.
And we
Because
all
there
took
was
different
just-
paths to get there.
Correct. But it was just really there's a lot of tension on trying to figure out how to do what I want to do with only really 2 actions.
Yeah, I mean, the span was 5-6 points between
Yeah.
the top and the bottom out of 4 players, and we had one player who was focused entirely on having children. We had one like me that always goes for in-game scoring, so I was going for that, which I didn't even do as effectively as you did, as it turned out, because you got a really good in-game scoring bonus.
Yeah, and it was completely by accident.
And you focused on the yellow cards, which are like during game bonuses and in game bonus points, or at least immediate victory points. And you were kind of all over the place as far as what you were getting.
Yeah, I had some in-game bonuses and I had during game bonuses, but I didn't really. I had very small family compared to everybody else.
Yeah,
My family tree was had very few branches, more I guess French.
Just like in real life.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, I'll be honest. I just was trying to play. Like, I ended up with a collection of friends that really worked well together. So I was like, well, I'm just going to try to play
they're
these.
really good friends because they got
Well, obviously,
kids
well, they're
together.
all in the family now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really worked well. The problem was I did spend victory points to get
That's true.
the right
Yeah.
child gender,
You
and
spent quite a few.
and I spent
at least 3.
at least 3. And if I hadn't,
Then you would have tied me.
You would
and
have
then I
tied
would
for
have
second.
tied. I would have tied for second. But at the same point, then I wouldn't have been able to
Do the things you wanted to
Yeah.
do.
do the things I would have necessarily been able to do.
Yeah,
So
you would have
then-
ended up like me with I had all boys for the every generation. I couldn't get
Right.
any female.
But generations give
Cards.
you a lot of money.
Hmm?
Girls give you money.
Yeah,
to
if
play
I would
them.
have had girls to marry to the boys, that would have been great.
I
That
wonder
would
who
have
took
been wonderful.
them.
These 2. You don't see. Her dad doesn't play with us very often, but Dwight got in on this, and he did very well. I mean,
He burned about half the children deck.
Yes, he had a huge family tree.
Yeah, I think he was trying to become Abraham.
I think so.
I think it's very
Mhm.
true.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give it a score, guys.
I think it's an 8 as far as the gameplay goes. I mean, it's got a lot of different ways of scoring, which is something I always like to see. It's got the tension of who's very limited types of places to go as far as workers, but yet I never really felt like I was completely locked out. There was always something I could do.
It did stink for the few attack cards that were out there.
Yeah, those were
that
painful.
Yeah.
did hurt.
Though dad got 2 of them. One was taking a
Took my money. You took my money, and he took my cards,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, you took my card.
so
What are you talking about?
mm,
No, but Dad's took one of the shields away from all of us,
Yes.
and then also took a card from all of us.
Yeah.
and you
That-
took my money.
So there is
I
some
only
take that
one
in this
time.
game. It is something that if you don't like attacking games, there is some of that in
A
this
little
game.
bit.
I mean, it's
But-
very
but-
minimal.
But the good
It's
thing is
minimal.
that I wouldn't say it's minimal, but it did hurt when it happened,
Mhm.
but it wasn't game ending.
Right,
though.
right.
So I was able to come back from it, but it maybe took an action away where I
Yeah.
could have done something else.
And there are complication cards in the children's deck, which that's maybe a sensitive subject for some
That's
people.
possible. I didn't
And it
think
does
of that,
mention
but
in the
it's true.
manual if that is an issue to take those out. So just to give that heads up, if that's something that's a sensitive issue to you, or the baby might be lost or the mother might be lost, you can remove those cards.
Yeah, definitely know your crowd before you.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to just plop this on the table.
That's a
without-
good point, and I'm glad they put that in the manual because I
Yeah.
didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I didn't think about it either, but I think about there was this one. There was an incident where we had someone come to play and they had just lost and we had no idea. Luckily, but this would have probably really,
Right.
and I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So that is kind of a good thing to kind of
Mm-hmm.
note there. All right, I'm actually also going to give it an 8. I think it's a really good game. I think it's a solid game. I do think I do think this game is, you have to kind of be in the mood for it, though. It is very different. It is very unique, which I like very much. But with that, I think it's in a niche, and it's a good niche. Don't get me wrong, but I do think it's kind of niche.
I should also point out this is a table hog.
Yes, it is.
You're going to spread out. It starts out really like, okay, this is very small. You start out with one person, and then your generations grow, and as they do, each one potentially can have 3 children or maybe even more in some cases. So each generation, when you multiply that out, it's going to spread for each player really wide across their table.
Yep.
So you're going to need a lot of space for this game.
Yeah, you destroyed my family.
Yeah, well, I had no choice, and your family deserved it.
Yeah.
So
you do realize you're part of my family, right?
well, they are now because they're all mixed together now. So.
I was going to give the game a 7. I did really enjoy it, but thinking about some of the other games I ranked at 8, I like them a little bit more than I did this one. So, but I don't want to take away the fact that I definitely would play this again. I enjoyed it. It's just I think some of the 8 games were better than this one.
Yeah,
so.
and I think, I think I've said it's a niche. You got to be in the mood for this kind of game.
And maybe that might be part of it, but it's a good game. I recommend it.
Yeah, no, it's a solid game.
Solid.
And again, the theme allows to be a little more open to some another group, right? Because when you get to the heavy economy games or some of the more RPG games, you find certain crowds not really being interested into this. But this might open up a different kind of group.
Yeah, it's not too terribly.
We should mention this is probably a medium game. I would call this about a medium complexity.
Yeah, right in the middle. I wouldn't even go light medium.
No, it's a medium.
It's a straight.
I think it's definitely there too. So.
And I'm very curious because we have an expansion for the 5 Families expansion. We really want to see what that adds. So
yeah, I would like to try that.
Hopefully we'll get it back to the table soon to play with the expansion because we've never played because every time it's like a year between playthroughs and we've forgotten how to play or we have somebody new.
Yeah, every time I see this on the shelf, I'm like, that one was good. I don't remember what it was.
And maybe that's another reason why I can give it a 7 is because when it was first set up, I didn't remember it at all. But then once we were digging into the rules, it finally became, I have played this. So I didn't remember it that much from the first time I played it. So
yeah, I mean, I do feel like sometimes
it didn't make a huge impression on me the first time.
Yeah, I remember the outside of the box and thinking, oh yeah, that one was good. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember that game very well. Or I'll ask Randy, I'll be like, Randy, what's the one where you're doing the family?
Right.
And he'll look at me and blink at me.
That's more description than I usually get. What's that game with the pieces? That's more like what I usually get.
There's a game that comes in a box.
Yeah.
And which one is that?
I think it was yellow.
I know, super helpful, right?
It's square box.
Yeah.
What was the one? There was one you were trying to describe that. Oh, what was it? God, I wish I could remember because it was that vague. It was like it had the round pieces in it. And
the rondelle? We were talking about the rondelles?
The flippity things. And you said the flippity things. And
listen.
That's probably pendulum.
It was. It was.
I know my wife.
It had the flippity things.
The fact is, he knew. And
I was the one.
Can we wrap this up so our viewers don't have to listen to
I
this?
was the one blinking.
But he knew.
All right. So bringing it back, I'm the one reeling this back in.
Let's bring it home.
All right. So we got a 7, 8,
and
8. Good game. Definitely
recommend.
Definitely look into this one. So if you guys like what we did today,
not so much the ending, but the rest of it maybe.
Well, whatever. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We'd love to see you guys again. And thank you guys so much for joining us and hanging out with us tonight. We hope to see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.